Shout out Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey, y'all. Hey. I am super excited. Yes, it's me, Tamara. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those of y'all that are new, I appreciate you coming through. New episodes drop every Thursday. So come on back through. You know what I'm saying? We're not always doing the Youuuu recaps, but if you like what you hear, then you'll probably like the other episodes because it's all me. You know what I'm saying? For all my regular listeners, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate y'all. If you're not, you should totally be following me on social media. And the link to my Instagram, Twitter, and the TikTok, you feel me, are in the episode notes. So officially, my brand, Melon Intoxicate, launches December 1st. Yes, we have got through all the, stuff, all the, trademarking debacle and all that stuff with the lawyer. And here we are. Yes, thank you. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are too kind. So the link to that is in the episode notes as well. So if you happen to listen to this after the first, it will have already dropped. If you happen to listen to this when it happens, save the link. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll be available for y'all to get on the first. Go to the Melon Intoxicate Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, which you can access that all from the website if you want to keep up with our social media. So definitely, that was a huge victory. Yes, y'all. Yes. Good times out here, you know what I'm saying? So I think I got all that out the way. Yeah, we're going to be having podcast happy hour this month. Still not sure exactly who's hosting or the date yet, but we will, of course, as always, let y'all know about that. So if you're not watching, you probably think Chris is here, but no. Chris is not here. We have a special guest who we have been trying to get on forever to do one of these Youuuu recaps because this is actually who put me on to this show. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the Podiverse, the YouTubeverse, or whatever, I guess those are the only options that you could be watching or listening. Everybody, welcome. Finally, we got her on the episode. Yes. Kayleeahna is here. Everybody, welcome her to the studio. Yeah, you guys are so kind. Thank you.
The favorite child is here.
Okay, so yeah, Kayleeahna is my oldest daughter. I keep telling them I don't have favorite children, but it just
we already know. We all know.
Oh, maybe not, but yeah. So we are here. We are gathered here today, ladies and gentlemen, to discuss Youuuu Season 3, Episode 6. And since Chris is not here, I have the episode title, which is W.O.M.B. which is womb. And that is it has to do with Love's Mother's Vineyard, and we will get more into that in a little bit. So, what did you think of this episode overall?
It was, I'm trying to think. It was all right. I mean, like I said, I don't like Love. She does too much. Everything is so emotional with her. But I mean, it was all right. We learned a little bit more about her relationship with her brother. We learned more about Joe. So it was okay.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the episode. I thought this was, I guess, my overview. I thought it was I mean, we got a lot of background information on different things, but it wasn't like it's like a build up episode, which I know
Yeah.
shows can't be climax the whole thing because so I know there has to be the build up, the whatever. But it's just this is such an interesting season because as I've said before on here, like we've never seen Joe in this light. So we've never seen Joe like in love or in a relationship, I should say. We've never seen that. We always seen him trying to get to that. So it's just really interesting seeing him just in this light of whatever. The episode starts, we keep getting these flashbacks of Joe's life in the orphanage and his interactions with the nurse. So we find out by her handing him something, we see the bruises on the arm, and Joe already know what that is because he saw it with his mom. So we see him finding out that she's being abused by either her husband or boyfriend or whoever that is. And then we see Joe in Marianne's house.
Yep.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
Joe is strange. Like, I don't know how he justifies being a stalker sometimes.
Hmm.
He will literally go into some and take somebody's underwear. Like, he is strange. And I feel like he's never gonna, like you said, we see him in this light of being in love. I don't think he's really ever gonna be in love. I don't even think he knows what love is because every single
Hmm.
time he meets someone, it's love. It's, oh, I love pursuing them. I love them. I love them. And then once they do something he doesn't like, then who is she? Especially with love. Like, she is literally him. And he doesn't like that. So now he's on to Marianne because she seems new and different. And he's just strange.
Hmm. You make a good point because one of the words he does use to describe Marianne is, "Oh, you're exciting,
Hmm.
but love does this and love that." And of course, we're hearing his inner monologue, and it's very sad because a lot of times people get into relationships because they like the thrill of the chase and it's exciting, or they just like the idea of being in a relationship or like the idea of being in love, not understanding that like it is a choice. It is, you decide to do this. You don't, it's not just about feelings and all that. It's, I am choosing to be committed to this person. Now, of course, if it's abusive, get the hell out. But when it's not, I agree. Joe is definitely all about ooh, the excitement, whatever. And it's also interesting because it's like he's playing with fire because he's trying to stalk her, but also like trying not to get caught because he already knows what's going to happen if he gets caught, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we find Joe in her house, and Joe is just going through all her stuff, and we're hearing his monologue, and then she comes back, and he's thinking maybe she's going on a date. And then Love texts him and it vibrates. And Marianne hears this and she just like, ain't no way.
Mm.
Ain't no way I'm about to hear a cell phone vibration or any kind of noise and not investigate in my own house. Like that was definitely interesting. And then she goes off wherever. And so that's how we have that. We then have Love in her kitchen with Henry. I'm not going to call him 42.0. And Love is cooking for him, and Love is ignoring Theo. And we see that Love has a pregnancy test.
Mm.
Now, in I think it was episode 5 or 6, 5 or 4, is when Love and Theo slept together. Did you think they actually slept together, or did you think they just you
I thought they
know.
just like kissed or like when they were in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was episode 5, and I just thought they were kissing because she's always. I didn't expect her to cheat, honestly. I mean, I expect that of Joe because it's Joe, but she's always like, "He's my soulmate. I love him." So I thought it was just a little crush.
So when you say you thought it was Joe, you thought Joe would. Why? What about Joe makes you think he would cheat?
Well, based off of season 2, like let's not forget that he was literally going to kill Love up
Mm,
until she was like, "Oh, I'm pregnant." Like he was done with her at that point, and we see from episode 1 to 6 of season 3 that he's done with her. He's just here because she's crazy, impulsive. She kills people, and he doesn't feel like that's safe for him to get out, especially for their son. Now he has to worry about that. He didn't have to worry about a son or a child in general last season. So yeah.
that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, we find out because Chris and I, when we discussed it, we figured they slept together, but they didn't show it, so we didn't really know. But we see Love has this pregnancy test, and we also see her texting 40.
Mm-hmm.
So that is interesting because that's not something that we've seen before. And so, 40 was killed at the end of season 2. That's her twin brother, if you're just listening and have never watched the show. And so it's maybe been a year since his death or something like that because they keep going away and coming back, and it's like 6 months have passed. So I think a year has passed, but it's been maybe a year and a half since his death. And so we see that she's been texting his phone apparently as a way to like still talk to him, quote unquote. And she's texting 40 talking about how she thinks she's pregnant. We see her grab the pregnancy test. She's like, I don't want this baby. Is it bad for me to feel that way? Just kind of processing through all of that. And then we see Theo texting Love saying, Why are you ignoring me? Basically.
Listen. Well, let me not cut you off. Let me not cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like Theo is an embodiment of 40 because if you look at the part where they're well, I don't know if I should say that you haven't even said this part of the overview, but like
It
when
doesn't matter. We don't go in like specific order. We kind of just go ahead.
okay, so when Love is drunk and she's in the tub and then she like sees 40 and 40's like, "Oh, yeah, I like that kid. He's kind of like me." I feel like 40 is a foreshadowing of if Theo stayed with Love, this might have happened. Because both Theo and Love have like daddy issues, mommy issues, whatever. And Theo relies on Love for like emotional help, for advice, the same way that Theo, or the same way 40 was very dependent upon Love. And just, I mean, it's vice versa. She is also dependent on 40 and Theo for whatever she's not getting from her mom or whatever she's not getting from Joe. So,
Hmm.
yeah. I
Okay.
plus he was like um or I saw something that was like 40 or not 40. Theo kind of looks like 40 when he was younger cuz it shows also that or we learned that she killed someone for 40 and blah blah blah. So I think it's interesting.
Yeah, we learned that in season 2.
Hmm.
So the thing about Theo is this 19-year-old kid who's in love with this older woman. I mean, she's not 40, but she's like 30 maybe, or however old she is. Like she's not 22, or like she's significantly older than him. And it's interesting because he knows that she's married and knows that she has a husband and knows that the neighborhood sees it. But this is where him being a kid comes into play, and him doing things based off emotion and not based off logic, because he pops up outside her house with a boombox. Where did he get that from, first of all? And he's playing some music, and the lyrics to the song are like we should be together, or stuff like that. And so it's just crazy, because it's like he is doing too much, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that even further confirms that she definitely slept with him, because now that she done gave it to him, now he's like hooked even that much more. And it's not, yes, it's emotional support, and for her, I think she needs to be needed. So I think
Yeah.
that's what she gets from that, because she doesn't feel needed. 40 always made her feel needed. 40 always made her feel like the protector. But also, I feel like it gives her like this sense of worth, because her mom is so hard on her, and like really preferred 40 over her, it seems like. So then 40 being the twin that got killed, and Love is the one left behind. It's just, I think you're right that Theo definitely fuels that need, that, or feeds that need, I guess would be the better way to say it, that she has to be needed. And it's just crazy because, like I said, he doesn't care about her being married. He doesn't care about who sees her. And then he asks her, "Do you think of me
Nope.
when you have sex with your husband?" And I'm just like, man, you bold. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you are just, which even further confirms that, yes, they slept together, because as I said, we kind of assumed, but we didn't really know, because they didn't, excuse me, they didn't show it. So we see that, and Theo says he's upset because Matthew, his dad, came home from China, and he's just worried about him. And it's really unfortunate, because this isn't even his actual dad. This is like his stepdad that his mom is no longer married to. We never see his mom, so obviously he's not about to go to her house. And he's like trying to connect with him, and he just can't. And that's always been an issue for him, is trying to connect with him. But even that much more now that Natalie is dead, even that much more he's trying to connect with him, trying to make sure he's okay. And you just see him worried about him, and that's what he's trying to tell Love, that I need your help, because you know my dad's not, he's not good, and he won't talk to me, and just all these things. So I guess while we're talking about Matthew, we could just stay here real quick, because Matthew, what do you think about? Okay, so Matthew, one of his, I don't know if it's a lawyer or a business partner or somebody from his company, is in his kitchen talking to him. And then through that, Matthew has launched an investigation, because he doesn't believe the story of how Natalie was actually killed. And he's investing everyone in Madre Linda, because he's just convinced that one of them, which he ain't wrong, he's not
Right.
wrong, you know what I'm saying? But he is convinced that one of them killed him. So what do you think about that?
Hey, I don't blame him because I mean he was gone while she was dead. Like he doesn't really know what her well he doesn't really know what her life was like while he wasn't there. So I'm not surprised that and I mean he has the money, so there's no if I think his mindset is if what they said is actually true, then there's nothing wrong with me just checking in to see if it could have been something else.
Yeah, he definitely seems obsessive, because when
Hmm.
Theo asked him about, did you forget to sleep while you were over there, which means he's, you know, you could, that means he physically looked tired or exhausted. He hadn't shaved, so he didn't have the clean shaven face that we saw in previous episodes. And he usually has been pretty, what's the word I'm looking, very nonchalant. Like, he didn't really show a ton of emotion, but you can see that he looks very stressed, he looks worried. Yeah, he's definitely obsessed with this investigation that he's launching into the entire town, and it's going to be very interesting to see what all he finds out, because we know, I mean, we don't know a ton about the rest of the town, but we know Joe and Love already has two bodies this season, because we've decided that, is it Gil or Dell? I think it's Gil, whatever his name was. I think his name was Gil. We've decided that Gil, I'm gonna actually look so I have it right. We've decided that Gil is under um Love's body count because she's the one that found all that stuff out about him, and so then she's the reason. I can't find my previous notes, so I don't know what happened, but I'm pretty sure his name is
Wait,
Gil.
wait. Who is? I forgot. Who is Gil?
Gil is the one who committed suicide, who found, who Love bust him in the head with the rolling pin because his
Oh,
kids gave
yeah,
her. I feel like his name is Gil, and for whatever reason, I didn't put him in my notes because I have a list of all the characters or the people that were killed in Natalie's case, because she literally only made it through one episode, which I didn't
yeah.
expect that to happen. But okay, so yeah, Matthew is definitely very obsessed. And then let's talk about, we're not going to go to Joe yet because that's kind of, so let's talk about, since you already mentioned it, Love at her mother's womb weekend celebration, which I would hate for me to be super excited about something and my kids really don't care because I'm a terrible mom. Like, shout out to Kayleeahna, sent me a screenshot. I woke up to it where a celebrity asked people to tag their favorite black owned business, and she tagged Melon Intoxicate, which is my brand that's launching. So my kids they're super supportive of everything I do. I mean, obviously my daughter, this is what, your second time on the show now, maybe third,
Yeah.
I think, second solo episode. And so my kids are very supportive always of all things that I do. They like to hear about it. So I just couldn't imagine being that terrible of a mom that your child really could care less about what you're doing, and she's really only showing up just for the sake of appearances because she's probably mastered that like throughout her childhood. But so Dottie is launching, she's opening a vineyard, and it's messed up because she used the money that was supposed to be helping Loeb with her bakery
Mhm.
and just was like, "Oh well, you got to figure it out." It's like, bruh, what? Um, and so yeah, Dottie is having her weekend, and none other than the woman I cannot stand. I can't stand Sherry. Like,
Yeah. Same.
I hate her so much. I'm
She's
mad
always
she's,
hashtag.
yeah, like, people, we don't say that out loud. That's what we use on
Mm-mm.
social media. Like, we don't say hashtag anything. Ugh, she just disgusts me. She's such an opportunist. But I do got to give it to her from the branding and marketing side of things, because I think about that more now that I have a company and this brand that I've launched, where you do have to be creative in the way that you get your brand out there and the way you market stuff. But being an opportunist, it's like, I can't stand people like that because it's not authentic. Like, you don't care about Dottie's vineyard. You just want to be there because you know that's the place to be. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I can't stand her. I'm glad to know that you don't like her either.
She's annoying.
Yeah. Um, and so Sherry's there, and they're listening to the speaker talk and loves asking questions and she's not feeling what she has to say. And then they decide to let's do a IGTV interview and you should be a part of it. And what does Dottie do? Dottie runs her mouth.
Yo.
Go ahead.
And she tells the whole entire Instagram live world that her daughter might be pregnant before she could even tell Joe or anyone that she might be pregnant. So, and her reaction after that, I'm not even mad about it because her mom, like, they already don't have a good relationship to begin with. So for her to
wait,
think
before
that
you go too far, what was her reaction? Expand on that.
she snatched the phone. She said, "There's a lot of cussing. You know, I don't do that." So, um, and she told Sherry to leave. Was asking like why her mom would do that, and then they had a conversation about how like Love likes to blame people for her unhappiness when she really needs to look inside because all this stuff. And I'm just like, dang, I'm happy I have a good relationship with my mom that I don't have to go through stuff like that.
You know, it's interesting because as much as I can't stand Dottie, she wasn't completely wrong about Love in that. Now, did she need to put her business on blast on Instagram? Absolutely not. But is Love unhappy within herself? Yes. And is she self sabotaging as a result of that? Yes. So Dottie wasn't wrong in that because Love, even when you have trauma that happens in your life, like parental stuff, and I've actually been processing through a lot of my own stuff lately, and I've talked about stuff on the show. But even when you have those issues, they are not an excuse for continued toxic behavior. Like Love really needs to, I mean, it's not, she don't need to just be in therapy, her and Joe. She needs to be in therapy like by herself to figure out herself. They really actually should both be in therapy separately because it's kind of like if you're not a whole and complete person, you bring less value to the relationship because you're going to have a lot more toxic behavior. And so Dottie, in my opinion, I was kind of surprised. Her and Sherry, because Sherry dropped some gems later. We'll get into that. But her and Sherry, as much as I can't stand either of them, they actually were not wrong in the ways that they, like Dottie, kind of putting Love in her place. And so it's at that point that Love's period comes and she realizes she's not pregnant. So then she's like, okay, now I can drink because she wasn't drinking when she thought she was. And she gets drunk and takes a bubble bath and is hallucinating and seeing 40. So I always liked 40. I was sad he died.
Yeah.
But she's seeing 40 in the tub with her, which I just thought, okay, I know y'all are siblings, but y'all like
Yeah, that's strange.
like in the bath
But
together.
but if you remember, I don't know if it was like a couple episodes ago, she was like something about her mom like an emotional incest between her siblings. I think she said that to like Joe. So I'm not surprised that they would be in the tub having this little emotional and intimate talk. I mean, not that I think they're having a relationship, but it makes sense based off of what she said.
Okay. Because I just was kind of like, like y'all, I know y'all are siblings, but being in the tub together as adults, that like
Mm-mm.
maybe when you were little you took baths together, but continuing on with that as opposite sex adults, opposite sex who are not, lesbian and homosexual. So like if they
Adults,
weren't,
period.
yeah, well, I mean, But the thing is, like, sometimes couples might take a bubble bath together or something like that. So
But they're
that's,
siblings.
I know. So my point that I'm saying is that they're not adult siblings who are attracted to the same sex. So it's just kind of, I don't know. It's weird. That was just a very weird scene. Now, I know in real life they're not brother and sister, but I don't know. That was just weird to me. But I guess you're right. It does give us some imagery for just how codependent their relationship was, because they were emotionally dependent upon each other because they weren't getting their emotional needs met by their parents. And then also, Forty was molested by the babysitter. So, just all these things have happened to them at a young age. But again, that's not an excuse for love. Like, now that you're having this revelation, you need to do what you need to do with it. But in that, she's having this conversation with her brother in the tub, and he's basically saying that Joe is not your soulmate. I am. I'm the only one who can blah, 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 and know what you've been through and know you like I know you. Now, what are your thoughts on just soulmates in general? Like, do you believe that there's one person? I don't think we've ever talked about this. I don't think, because why would we
Nah,
have? Yeah, like,
right.
why would we have talked about this? So, do you believe that there's one person for every person, and that's the only person, or what are your thoughts? Because everybody has different views on this, and it's always interesting to hear what people think.
I feel like there's multiple people for different aspects of your life. Like maybe when you
Mm,
were a kid, you met this one girl or boy, and oh, I love them, oh, I like them, and but they, I mean, it didn't last obviously, but they taught you things about yourself that you take on, you keep, you go through the motions through life. I don't think because there's like 7 billion people in the world in different regions, in different continents. How are you going to find, especially, how are you going to find your one soulmate in the state you live in if there's that many people in the world? And I think people just throw the term soulmate around when they like somebody.
mm. I think that it's so interesting because there was a point in life where I don't know that I would have used the term soulmate exactly, but there was a point in life where I kind of believed that there was, somebody, like, there's a specific person for somebody. But then as I've gotten older, and that was like earlier in my adulthood, so I'm not saying that was when I was a little kid, and a lot of that tied into, like, when I became stronger in my faith and I started thinking about how God, um, will have plans for our lives and stuff like that. But as I'm getting older and as I'm experiencing a lot of different things, especially things where, I'll have this desire to do something. So this isn't related to a relationship, but it kind of is what helped shape my thought process for this, is that, like, the different jobs that I've had that I believed that's where God wanted me to be. And each time I get there, or was trying to get there, I never really looked at it like, oh, I'm only going to be here for a little bit. I was all in, thinking I was going to be there forever. You know what I mean? And then I would hit this point where I would realize it was time to move on to the next thing that God had for me. And then now here we are years later, and I run my own company and have launched this brand and just all these things. But what that taught me is that, kind of like what you were saying, some things are just for a season. Some people even are for a season. And I think too, people who get married and then get divorced, I don't think that because they got divorced, then they just lost out forever and now there's no hope for, another opportunity for love. I think that, as you said, that person is who they needed for that season. They should take away whatever they took away from that to help them either grow or even help them understand, like, I deserved better than that. You know what I'm saying? It could be either or. It's not always just the other person was the issue. But I don't know about this soulmate things, because I think you can have friends that are quote unquote soulmates, that they bond with you or link with you in a way that other any do not. You can have business partners that are the same way. Like, it doesn't always mean romantic relationship. And I think people have romanticized a lot of things when it comes to relationships. Like, relationships are work, because we are all people with issues and our own little kinks and nuances and whatever. And hell, just raising kids can be wild. You know what I mean? Like, there are times when I'm like, I'm not built for this as a mother. And so it's kind of like,
Not about me though. Not about me.
okay, Kayleeahna. But yeah, so it's kind of like, I think people will even say, like, I want to have a kid because I want somebody to love me forever. Girl, no, that is not how
Kids
that
are too
goes.
much.
That is not how that goes at all, especially they hit them teenage years, or that I'm 18 years and I was there. So I'm talking about me. I'm not really
Janae.
talking about my own children. I'm talking about me, because I was there, and you're trying to find your sense of independence and find your sense of this and that. And it's just interesting how people have these just interesting perspectives on what they think relationships are or whatever. And so, as I've gotten older, as I said, I'm not really necessarily under the mindset of, oh, people have soulmates. I do think that the right person will come along and be the right person for where you are and where you're going. So nowhere in that am I saying you should marry somebody for a little bit and then hop on to the next thing, because again, it's all about commitment and choosing to make it work. Um,
Yeah.
so, which brings me to Sherry's gems. So, Sherry, in the most, I feel like, honest and vulnerable and transparent thing that you've seen her say or be in the series, because everything else is fake. But I feel like Love was talking to her about, I don't know if she was talking about soulmates. I think she was.
Oh
And
yeah.
Sherry said that she doesn't I don't know if she necessarily said I don't believe in that. I can't remember how she exactly worded it. But what she said is that her and Carrie, her husband, which I'm still just mad about the whole Sherry
Sherry
Carrie
and
thing,
Carrie.
like, bruh. But what she said is that, her and Carrie hit a really, really rough patch, and she decided, this is my person and I'm going to make it work. And that's really the essence of how marriages last, is that there is humility, which that's in any relationship. You know what I mean? Like, in all relationships, there has to be a level of humility, there has to be some compromise here and there. And I feel like that honesty of her saying, like, man, we really struggled for a little bit. I feel like that I still can't stand her, but that made me less of I can't stand her in that moment, and more of like, yeah, she's right. And so then, going back to Love and 40, they're in the tub, they're having this conversation. They get out the tub and in the bed, she falls asleep drunk. And then, of course, the ghost 40 went away because he was never really there because he's dead. But then the revelation that she got is that she can't keep holding on to him, and it's probably a revelation I wish she would have gotten while he was alive, because they had a very codependent relationship while he was alive. But she realized she can't keep holding on to him and that doing that is in the unhealthy way that she's doing it, because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm trying to tell them how to grieve, because you grieve how you need to grieve, you know? But in she felt it was unhealthy for her to grieve in the way that she was, and that she needed to let go, and then so she actually deleted his contact and deleted the thread, and yeah, she's gonna stop texting him, which, oh, so why do you think that's good? Because you said good job.
Because she's allowing herself to heal and move on from that traumatic experience of losing her twin brother.
Okay. So then let's talk about Joe. Joe, 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 Joe.
Joe.
So this whole episode, Joe is trying to figure out Marianne, because he's trying to figure out why he's so drawn to her. So that's why he was in her house earlier. She leaves during the middle of the day from work, and he's in her office, quote unquote, doing the past due stuff. Mind you, he's just a volunteer. He's not an actual employee. I guess he doesn't need a job, but I don't know if he's ever had a real job this whole show. When I really think about it, like, what job has he ever had?
I mean, I thought he was working at a Navrin when in season 2.
You're right. Okay. So he's volunteering in this library and trying to figure out what it is that's drawing him to Marianne. He finds out that Marianne has some neglect charges against her daughter, because he knows she has a daughter, and he sees that it looks like she's in rehab or something, or some, addict or addiction. I can't remember what. Recovery. There we go. Recovery program. And he's like, you know what? You're too messy for me. Like, I don't got time to be, because like you said, once he finds out who people really are, the fantasy that he has of them in his head is gone, and then it's like he don't want nothing to do with them anymore.
Well,
So
for her, he decided after that no, she's worth it. Which I don't understand why he wouldn't do that for love.
yeah, we're not there yet though. But yeah, I don't. But I think the difference between Marianne and Love is Love killed people. Like, Love is him. So Love killed people that she really didn't need to kill to protect him. So in his mind, Love is crazy and it's irrational. But for Marianne, it's not this. She didn't kill anybody. She didn't. I guess he could probably, in some sense, understand somebody being an addict. So I think that's the difference. I think he still is salty that she killed old girl's sister. I can't remember her name. And so I just think,
yeah, I don't remember.
yeah, I don't remember. I don't even remember old girl's name actually right now, the sister. But I think that's why. But he finds out she lost, I mean, well, yeah, he does find out she lost custody of her daughter. Um she finds out more about Marianne, and he's really trying to, like, find a way out, but nothing that he does makes him not like her anymore. And then he hears her arguing with her ex, and he goes upstairs to be Captain Save-A-Ho, because of course Joe got to save the day.
Right.
And we find out she used to be married to the local newsman. So that's interesting. Now we can see why she has the. And I'm not going to say she was wrong, but if you remember in maybe it was episode 3, where she's, you can see she has some really frustration with, like, white people, because she's talking,
Yeah.
or it might have been episode 2, saying, like, oh, the white woman victim syndrome, or however she's missing white woman syndrome, or missing white woman, whatever. And now we kind of see that a lot of that for her, which is obviously based on experience. And I mean, I knew that it was when she said that before, just based on things we see kind of in society. And basically, if you don't know what I'm talking about, what she was saying is that, and she worded it differently, but that a lot of times, if there is a missing white woman, there's a lot of press about it, a lot of like, oh my gosh, we need to save this person. And then if there's a missing black woman at the same time, or multiple, they don't get the same press coverage. And so that's kind of what she was saying. But now, as we fast forward to this episode and we're learning about her history, then we find out that her ex, who was also an addict, has been able to just wreak havoc in her life and make things bad for her and worse for her. And that's the reason she doesn't have custody of her daughter, and he has full custody, because he's this white man, as she says, making all these allegations, dragging things out. If she calls him a dickhead because he's being a dickhead, oh well, she's a verbal abuser. And if he gives her the wrong address for the custody or the visitation, of course she's not going to show up if she got the wrong address. But then oh well, child neglect. And so he's doing all these things and playing this game to keep her from her child. And then we kind of see that that's why she has this just frustration with white men. But
Well, not Joe though.
Girl, that part. Except for Joe.
I was like, Joe, period, a black woman.
Well, he was with that black woman before, though, in season.
Oh yeah, that one girl.
2 or 1? That might have been season 1. Yeah,
it was 1.
Yeah, so I mean, he's not new to this, but Marianne is definitely different, because again, Marianne is not somebody that he became obsessed with instantly. It took time for him to become like, oh, I want to figure you out. And then we find out, they start having this conversation. She goes off on him for trying to rescue her. And he's like, I'm sorry, I would have did that for anybody. Like, no, I'm not sorry. He leaves, he goes home. She calls late because the sprinklers, for some reason, malfunctioned in the library, and now they gotta clean this mess up. So then, as they're cleaning this mess up, they're talking. He's trying to still not have feelings for her. Like, he's trying to use the stuff he's having against her to be this block, but he's not able to. So then he's asking her questions and finding more information, and then they kiss. And then he's like, oh fuck, love's gonna kill you.
He should have thought about that before he was doing all that he was doing.
Yeah.
He really playing with her life.
Yeah. Well, love is too with Theo,
I mean, Joe don't really care about her or Theo. I feel like, he doesn't care about love. So I don't think he would actually do something about it.
I don't know though, because remember, I think it was last episode, he about snapped when he thought she was doing something. Remember when he was digging through the receipts and then questioning her? So I don't know, because I don't know. I guess we'll see further in, the season, because there's going to be some light with that, I'm sure. But the interesting revelation that I kind of just got about why Joe was able to be more forgiving, etc., with Marianne versus Love is that Joe has had a lot of breakthrough lately within himself. So what we're seeing this whole season is we saw last episode where he had that breakthrough in the woods with carrying them, and he was able to accept the parts of him that he has tried to hide or keep at bay. So he's getting all this like breakthrough and love of self. And then in this episode he realizes, as Marianne is yelling at him, that the reason why he thought he was drawn to her is because of mommy issues. So then he starts doing a lot of digging and soul searching. So I think that's the difference, is that he's a little bit more healed. And so things that are triggers or whatever, because he's been in therapy, they may still be in therapy, but because he has been, he is able to recognize his own issues, and he's like, okay, I need to fix that. So I think that's honestly the difference between her and Love, is because maybe if he had that freedom and that healing back then, maybe he could have forgiven her. I don't know, because she also killed people, so that's a little bit different. But I think that plays a big part in it too, is that, he's had that healing.
I mean, in Love's defense, she wouldn't have to have killed those people if Joe was not trying to be obsessed with people and stalking people. Like Natalie, okay, yeah, she didn't have to kill anybody, but if Joe wasn't taking her underwear and whatever else he was taking, she wouldn't even know about Natalie. She wouldn't have killed Natalie. They would be happy, or at least fine.
So let's go back to season 2 though, because Candace, hmm,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I could see why
Joe
she
was
killed
probably
her.
gonna kill her.
I don't know, because Joe really isn't trying to kill people. Joe actually hasn't killed anybody since he killed the pervert comedian and the other dude that was trying to go after the person whose identity he used. But other than that, Joe really hasn't killed anybody else. And I can't remember that other girl's name that he killed, the girl's older
Beck.
sister.
Oh.
No, the girl's older sister in season 2. I wish I could remember her
Yeah.
name. Diana. We just gonna call her Diana. And we gonna call the other girl Evie or Eva or something, because it's something like that.
Yeah, I'm like, is it that?
It might be Eva, but I don't think it's Diana. But he ain't have to kill Diana. I mean, Love did not have to kill Diana. Like, and that's the thing, is that that's what made him snap, not him killing. I don't even remember how she responded when she killed Candace. Or I remember Joe thought he killed Candace because he was all high and wasn't really sure what happened. That's why people should stay off drugs. But yeah, so I think that may be why, I guess, as the season unfolds, we'll see a little bit more. But that's what brings me to a point, is that Love and Joe are the same, but they're not. And here's why they're not. Because Love is really, like, she's trying to blame everybody else for her issues. So even her letting go of 40 is almost, in a sense, her blaming 40. Like, oh, you're holding me back. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like she's seems to be blaming everyone else for her issues, whereas it seems like, from what I could see, Joe is owning his stuff. And I think that's the difference between Love and Joe, where I struggle with Love because you're such a hypocrite. Like, you killed Natalie and he didn't even sleep with Natalie. And he was upfront and honest for the most part, because he didn't tell her about the box. He probably forgot about it, honestly. Maybe, I don't know. But you cheated on your husband, and you're still trying to have excuses of why to keep this person around. So, and then y'all both fantasize about other people when y'all sleep together, which is very, very sad. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, Joe and Marianne, though, you know, they have this discussion, and Marianne admits her feelings for him, and that's a game changer. That's a game changer for Joe. Yep, because he is now trying to keep her safe and trying to figure out a way how to have her but keep Love from finding out so Love doesn't kill her. And that's really what he's been doing this whole episode is I'm going to keep you safe from Love, which is very interesting because Love is his wife and the mother of his child, and it's just this tension that Chris and I have said we don't believe Love is going to survive the series. We think that she gonna get killed in episode 10, but we'll see. I just keep seeing though Joe being against her, like I'm not for you. You are on to bull. I didn't really want you. You only here because you was pregnant. What do you think about that?
I just think everybody is doing too much, honestly. Joe is never content, never happy.
Mm.
Like, honestly, yeah, okay, yes, she's killed people. Yes, she's impulsive, she's obsessive, she's controlling. I mean, they both are. Joe just is a little bit more controlled than she is. I don't know why he tries to act like he's better, like he hasn't killed a handful of people because he was focused on you and I see you. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Love kills Joe because
Mm.
he doing too much. Like
Mm.
she she is exactly she is the only person who could ever accept him for who he is, who he actually is. Yes, he's trying to change, but she accepted that he killed people, probably because she killed somebody, but still, she accepted that he has this tendency to be obsessed with people, to stalk people. Like he stalked her, all that, and she accepted him, and that's not good enough for him because, like she said, he doesn't accept who she is. He wants her to change, but that's who she is.
This all goes back to what I said in the first episode, but I started saying it after seeing this in season 2. Niggas cannot keep the same energy that they expect us to have for their foolishness. This show beautifully displays it because they are the same person. Yes, Joe is more meticulous and more thoughtful in how he does stuff to not get caught. And I think that's just his PTSD of needing to be in control because when he wasn't in control and it didn't happen the way, like when it happened in an uncontrolled way, then he was sent off to the orphanage and went
Mm-hmm.
through all of that. Love, on the other hand, is more so emotion based and irrational and whatever, but they are the same person. We even hear their inner monologues where they're both saying, I don't deserve you. I don't deserve you. Like they're trying to make this work. So they are the same person. I just think, though, that Love is the one that brings out the irrational side and that anger in Joe. We've seen it a few times this season, them arguing and him like punching the wall or like going off to where I could see if ever he killed somebody in a irrational emotional way, it'd be her. Like she's the only one that I see bring out, that side of him. But we still have 4 more episodes, so it'll be really interesting to see that. So fast forward towards the end, the only thing we see then is Theo. He's really worried about his dad, and that's when he finds out about this investigation that Matthew has into everybody in Madre Linda. And apparently, Love drunk text Theo while she was in the bathtub or whatever. Theo shows up and Theo says, I got to tell you something. And he tells her about the investigation. And so, of course, Love tells Joe because Love is not trying to go to jail for killing Natalie. And Love comes up with this plan, which I just think it's so convenient. Her plan is that I got to get closer to Theo. So if I make him think he has a chance, I could get close enough to get more information. This is the plan she presents to Joe. And she's like, I know I'm asking a lot of you. The whole time, Joe in his head is like, yes, because
That's perfect.
if you're distracted by him, you won't pay attention to what's going on with me and Marianne. And he agrees to it and tells her, I trust you. Now, I know Love thinks something is funny because you can see it in her face at that hug at the end where she's kind of looking like, huh? Like she knows her husband. And Joe is like, yes, this is the perfect plan. Like, this is so perfect. And that's how it ends, where now they're trying to figure out how they can find out more information about Matthew's investigation because Love ain't trying to go to jail. Joe is set on making this somehow work with Marianne, even though Marianne was like, I have feelings for you, but I would never try to like ruin your marriage, ruin your family. And Joe in his mind is like, yes, she actually on that. Like I was hoping she was, you know what I'm saying?
Joe really just ain't anything.
Why you say that?
Because I just don't understand, like, the things he does. Like, he thinks it's okay because he knows how to justify it, which I don't understand him.
I think in general, people, and we'll go here because I have this conversation with you and Janae even where you each are doing whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter what it is, and you will judge each other because what you're doing is different because you've justified in your mind that what you're doing is okay for you and it's okay and it's not that bad because I'm not doing what the other person is doing, but it's equally harmful behavior in a sense. So it's kind of like that's just the nature of people. People justify their decisions as, well, it's okay if I'm doing this because either I'm not doing what you're doing, so I'm not that bad because at least I'm not doing that. Or it's something like he hasn't killed anybody else, so Love is crazy, even though you're got this whole plot to try to leave your wife and take your kid, and you also a stalker and sneaking in people's houses and doing all this stuff. But
Snuggling
it's
their
not that,
underwear.
yeah, and everything else, chapstick and all this stuff. And so it's kind of like that's just the nature of people. People tend to justify their behavior for what they need to do, which is fine. But the issue is where then we judge other people just because they do things differently than us that we don't understand. Because in that person's mind, unless they have like some extreme psychological issues, it made sense for them to do that. You know what I mean? And even in that case, it made sense. But it's just like, I think that's just the nature of people is what we're seeing is that, people, yeah, they oftentimes judge other people's behavior. So, guys, that has been You Season 3, Episode 6. We are going to try to get Kayleeahna back on here with Chris and I. Shout out to her. She's still a part of this. She just couldn't record this week. And so I decided to ask Kayleeahna to hop on. That way I didn't have to miss a week. But We appreciate you coming on here. I normally would have people share their social media, but I don't want these people following you on social media.
Yeah, that's weird.
Y'all don't, yeah, so skip that. Are there any other announcements? Man, if it's after the first, check out the Melon Intoxicate merch. I am super excited. This brand is finally launching. You guys know, my regular listeners, I've been talking about this for a while. I actually came up with was it last December? Because I keep feeling like I know it wasn't January,
I do not. I think
but I don't think it was November.
I don't even remember. I know it was
Well,
a time ago.
Well, that's just what I'm going with because I know it wasn't January because I was looking through my photos and I already had stuff saved, like edited from whatever. So I know that it was December. So it's been a year in the making, basically. And I'm super excited about it. And man, my graphic designer really was able to bring my vision to life, and then it's super dope because I have all these logo drafts that I can still like. So I have a lot more designs coming. There's a lot, like, my creative juices are just flowing, and there's just so many things that I want to do with this brand. So I'm super excited. Check it out. We have t-shirts, hoodies, leggings, joggers,
Nice.
coffee mugs, tumblers, regular water, like coffee mug tumblers, but then also wine tumblers. And then we also have, I think, just steel water bottles, I think. So that's where we're at right now. But there's just going to be so much that I'm going to do with this brand. So check that out. Podcast Happy Hour will be happening in December. Somebody will be hosting it on someday. We just have not solidified that yet. But as always, y'all know, I'm going to let y'all know. Follow me on social media. I will, you know, promote it as well. And I think that's it. Yeah. So this has been You Season 3, Episode 6. As always,
Yay.
make sure you guys take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Make sure that you are healthy in your relationships because, as you can see from this, when you're not, a whole lot of mess is going to happen. Make sure that you are for real, for real. I know the holidays can be stressful, like they really can. And I know that some of y'all may feel lonely. This may be your first, this might have been your first Thanksgiving without a loved one, or it'll be your first Christmas without a loved one. The holidays really highlight the grief that you're already walking around with every day because it's never not there. It's just some days it's more than others, and milestones can be the same. So make sure you guys are really taking care of yourself. And if you need to go and whatever you like pregame before you go see the family, I feel you. I've been there. You got to do what you got to do. But if you can go around family and you're fortunate enough to have some joy around your family, even though sometimes different people get on your nerves, do that. Or if you find joy being alone, and it's not like you're just miserable alone, do that too. But really take care of yourselves because I know the holidays is just, yeah. And also, you know, don't be out here trying to go broke to get anything for anybody because there have been times when I didn't get my kids presents, but somebody else blessed us or whatever, and my kids have never, like, finances, especially working in the social work field, finances has not been, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times I've been getting by, or I'll have seasons of we're doing a little bit better than that. But working in the social work field is wild because you do this crazy work and then I just wasn't getting paid like that. That's kind of why I wanted to shift to the consulting side of things, because you can do the same skills in a different industry, even there was a point when I was looking for another job because I thought I might need to do that. I don't, but I thought I might. And it's really interesting because doing way less than what I was doing at my last job, but in a different industry, I can make the same or more money in some cases. So it's just really interesting how the social work field is that way. But I say all that to say my kids have never felt any less about me because I couldn't get them whatever. Like kids are understanding, you know what I'm saying? Especially if they've kind of had to just navigate that. So if you've spoiled them and you've created a culture where they feel entitled, okay, that's on you. But at the same time, don't go broke and put yourself in all this debt trying to do all this stuff for Christmas because it's the relationship with you that matters. And we see that, yeah, we're seeing that on You, where people be rich and hate their parents because their parents weren't there emotionally. But that happens in real life where people will give their kids all this stuff because they're trying to give them what they didn't have or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that emotional bond is so much more important than that. You know what I mean? And so take that to heart, do what you want with that. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. We will be back here next week for You Season 3, Episode 7. Or if you want to check out a regular episode, I drop every Thursdays. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for...